Welcome to Brainworms and Tangents. My name is Pamela.
And I'm Carissa.
And we are two 20-somethings with ADHD on a quest to chase our impulsive ideas we can't shake. This is a self-growth podcast that is all about becoming who you want to be, one brainworm at a time.
So Pam, I hear you have a brainworm.
Yes. Have you ever heard of a capsule wardrobe?
I only heard about it when we talked about it prior to this, but before that, no, I had never heard about it.
So what a capsule wardrobe essentially is a much smaller wardrobe that has a lot of pieces that go well with each other and are really easily combinable in different ways to maximize the amount of outfits that you can make. And like I mentioned, it's smaller, so it depends. There's different ideas of how big it should be, but one resource that I found said it should be around 33 items. So 33 items in your capsule wardrobe, and you have a different wardrobe for each season. So you can have your capsule wardrobe for the fall and have 33 items, and you can choose then for the winter another different 33 items, or it could have some from the old one. But the point is that you only have 33 items or around that number, and that is everything that you have to choose from for your wardrobe. And that includes accessories, shoes, purses, earrings, all of that stuff. So it really reduces the amount of mental energy that you have to use getting dressed in the morning, because you're not looking at so many articles of clothing. You're not having to consider so many things that realistically aren't even options. So that was what was really interesting to me, because I feel like my closet is full of clothes that I don't like, that I don't wear. It causes me so much frustration opening my closet and just not knowing what to wear and just seeing so much that I don't want to deal with. And I know you've been feeling kind of the same way about your clothes and your wardrobe.
Yeah, I think back when we started the declutter challenge, I knew my closet was something I should have made a priority, but I kind of kept avoiding it just because of, I think, just all the steps that go with going through your closet, because I knew there was a lot of things that didn't fit me anymore. I knew there were things that I probably should get rid of that have just been worn too much, that have holes in it, or that were just like disintegrating. That was just something I was like, I don't want to worry about this. But I think you get in the thing of buying clothes either for one-time use or things that you maybe don't really need, when you probably have something that's at like the bottom of a drawer that you could use. But yeah, I don't think I have a lot of like staple pieces, I think, that are like very versatile with a lot of things, which sounds like the goal of the capsule wardrobe.
Right, exactly. I read a book called Project 333 in order to learn more about capsule wardrobes and how to implement it. The book is by Courtney Carver, and I learned how she recommends that you start on this journey. So with this, the goal is not to go and buy an entirely new wardrobe and be like, this is my 33 items and everything's gonna be great now. Because that is just not in the spirit of a capsule wardrobe, in minimizing consumerism, in not contributing to landfill waste when it comes to clothes and textile waste. So how the author Courtney Carver recommends you start is look at your wardrobe, and for the season that you're in, select 33 items and then put the rest away. Just put it in a storage container, put it out of sight. Only have the 33 items in front of you as what you will choose. And she describes this as a little bit of a trial and error process, because the first time you do it, you might not get it quite right. And you might see, like, I've pulled this sweater to be part of my 33 items, and I realized it just doesn't go with anything. I never wear it, and I actually don't like it. I thought it'd be a good piece, but it's not. And she says in those instances, go and swap your sweater, for example, with something else in your storage until you can tweak and figure out what exactly your capsule wardrobe should look like, until eventually you're not having to swap out pieces. You're identifying what is a really solid capsule wardrobe for you, and you're able to just stick with those 33 pieces for the entire season. And like I mentioned, it's something that you should do 4 times a year. So at the beginning of every season, selecting your 33 items and going with it. And I just thought this is super interesting and cool because I do have that gut instinct of, oh, I can go buy my capsule wardrobe and it's so fun, but it's really not about that, right? It's about using what you have.
So you're keeping an inventory, kind of a storage of items. Is there a time where you eventually let go of those things, or does it stay as kind of like I don't know, backlog of kind of these other items that you pull from when it's time for this season?
Yeah, I think it depends on what those items are. And I think it's definitely helpful to get you to the place of donating them, where if you've gone through 8 seasons of capsule wardrobes and you have never pulled one of these items ever, then maybe it's time to donate them. Maybe that's like a good sign that you really don't need it, but it is totally up to you. Really, the focus of the capsule wardrobe is that what you have available readily in your vision every morning when you're getting dressed is those 33 items, and you can kind of navigate that in different ways depending on what you need.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think with ADHD, we talk about the like out of sight, out of mind. And I think that would be something if there's just a random bin, you open it and you're like, oh my gosh, there are all these other things. But when it's not in your field of view, when you open your closet, you don't have to worry about it. And it does, like you said, like reduce that decision fatigue that you have every morning when you're trying to get dressed.
Yeah, I feel like I've had so many moments where I've opened an old suitcase or an old tote bag and I found like a shirt or pants and I'm like, oh, I guess I've just never even noticed that this is missing. And I think we need to realize that we really don't need that much stuff. So with the 33 items, there are some guidelines. So I know when we first talked about capsule wardrobes, Carissa, you asked, does pajamas count in those 33 items? And the answer to that is no. So something that has a very specific use, it is only for one purpose, and you are not wearing as part of your outfit, does not need to be counted in the 33 items. So for example, if it is pajamas, but then let's say you're wearing a pajama shirt, like big oversized t-shirt, and then one day you decide you want to wear it out, then that becomes one of your 33 items. So as long as you are only using it for that purpose, same thing goes with like athleisure or workout clothes. If you have leggings for the gym and you only wear them to the gym, then that's fine. That doesn't have to be a 33 item. But if you are wearing those leggings as part of your outfits, then you now have to count it.
Gotcha. I think it kind of makes you more intentional about the outfits that you're choosing. Because I think there's some days where it's like, okay, I'm wearing these sweatpants to bed, but then you wake up, you're like, I'm just going to wear them throughout the day. Now it's become your day out. Like, I don't know. I think less like maybe transitional pieces and more like, this is for this. I'm changing. Now I'm like in this separate outfit. That makes a lot of sense to me.
So with this, I have been trying to figure out, how do I implement a capsule wardrobe? It just feels like a really big undertaking and feels really intimidating. So I decided that I would take advantage of the fact that I was going on a 2-week trip internationally, and I created a travel capsule as kind of a intermediate trial run of having a capsule wardrobe. And I was really excited about this because it felt manageable. It didn't feel like I was having to commit to it for a whole 4 months or anything like that.
So how was the process? Like, what kind of like steps did you take when trying to pack for your trip?
So something to keep in mind is that I was going to Peru, and it is the summer there right now. It is winter in the Northern Hemisphere. So I did have to pull from different clothes than I am using right now. And that kind of did help me be really intentional about what I was picking, because I wasn't just picking from clothes that I have been wearing. I was looking at my summer clothes and seeing what do I specifically want to pull out to take. And I was mostly looking for clothes that were going to be really versatile, as that is one of the things that's helpful for articles of clothing to be in a capsule wardrobe. But I was also looking for very specific activities and different activities than I usually do in my day-to-day. For example, I was going sandboarding one day in Peru, and I didn't know what outfit I should wear for that. So I was doing a variety of different things, walking around the city, going to the beach, just a lot of different things that I would need a lot of different outfits for. So I had to really think about what I wanted.
When you were packing, were you trying things on and like seeing how they looked, or were you like laying them on the floor? Like what qualified an item to be like, okay, you're going in the suitcase?
I definitely had to try things on. I thought I knew what I wanted to bring until I put things on. And it wasn't until things were on my body that I could see what really did go well with other things and what didn't. So, for example, and I will share my capsule wardrobe. I put together a cute little graphic because that's what I see people do on Pinterest, and I thought it was really cute. I don't know how they get their clothes to not be wrinkly. All the pictures of my clothes are really wrinkly, but that's okay. So, for example, I had a white button down, which I feel like is such a classic staple for capsule wardrobes. And I have another button down that has stripes, and I really like how that fits me better. But it was not as versatile as just the plain white button down. So when I was trying on both of them, I had to decide which one was going to come with me, and it ended up being the plain white button down. And that is something that I keep going back and forth on, because what Courtney Carver talks about in the book Project 333 is that one of the benefits of having a capsule wardrobe is that you don't have a lot of clothes that you feel meh about. You are only selecting the clothes that you feel the best in, that you look the best in. But also, as I was selecting pieces, I didn't find that that was necessarily true of the pieces that were the most versatile. I think I preferred some other items, but if I had brought those, I would have had to bring a lot more clothes in order to make outfits, because they just didn't match as many things. So that was one point of tension for me. And maybe that means that next time that I'm buying clothes, I need to be more intentional about finding things that I really like and that are versatile. So I think there might just be some growing pains as I transition my wardrobe.
Well, I think it just becomes a whole philosophy when buying clothes anyways. I think oftentimes when like I'm going thrifting, I think because I'm like, oh, this is cheaper, I don't have to love it. It could just be like, okay, and I'll buy it. And I think that's like not a good philosophy when shopping. I think it's like, okay, because this is so cheap, like I'm gonna like make sure like I really like it, because I'm not just gonna buy something that I'm just not gonna wear just because it's a good deal. So I think that's like the thing when you're trying on clothes, it has to fit perfect, or like it needs to, if you're gonna spend money on something, you want to invest. But I think we had talked, and you might know more, but was it the like part of this kind of having more staple, like higher end pieces, because of the like you want the like longevity of the items that you're having too? Was that part of the capsule wardrobe?
Right. That isn't necessarily a requirement, but is certainly something that people tend to do, because when you find a piece that you know is going to last you a long time, again, it doesn't contribute to more landfill and textile waste, and you want to be able to wear it for a long time, and you want it to last you through many different seasons, many different washes. That's the other thing, right? You're washing clothes a lot more when you have a smaller wardrobe, so you really want it to last through many more wearings and more washes. I mean, I can think of clothes that I bought from Shein in high school that felt like they were made out of paper, but I probably still are in my closet, and I've only worn 5 times. So they've held up.
Yeah.
But that isn't really how a capsule wardrobe functions. The other thing when I was choosing my travel wardrobe, my travel capsule, I was trying to figure out how many items I was allowed to bring for it, because I didn't need the full 33 because it wasn't going to be months long trip. It was just the 2 weeks, but I still wanted it to feel like I had less choices so that I could practice selecting outfits in that way. So I saw that some people online used what was called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. According to different sources, this 5-4-3-2-1 method varied. So what generally seemed the consensus was 5 tops, 4 bottoms, 3 shoes, 2 layering pieces, and 1 etc. So that could be a belt, dress, things like that.
Okay.
Now, I was kind of blending the rules from the official Project 333 rules and travel capsule rules. So something like a swimsuit, I didn't count in my 33 items because it had a very specific purpose of going to the beach and swimming. So I didn't count it in there. And I didn't count my tennis shoes that I had, more athletic shoes, because I specifically wore them so that I could go sandboarding and I wasn't wearing them any other day.
Yeah.
So I still combined some of those rules and used influence from the 5-4-3-2-1, where I had, 1 dress, 1 romper, and I did have 2 bags. But I had 1 less shirt than I needed. So, was kind of blending the rules, but I still think that I came up with a good, well-rounded and minimal item capsule. And I was really excited to test it out and see how it would go. Like you asked earlier, I think trying things on was really important for figuring out what these items were, because I started with a lot of items on my list. And then once I tried things on, they quickly just removed themselves from my list because it was clear that it wasn't going to work. So I was pretty satisfied with what I came up with.
Do you feel like these rules felt restrictive?
In a way, when I was trying to do the 5-4-3-2-1 method, it did feel a little restrictive, which is why I didn't follow it exactly. I didn't necessarily need as many tops or layering pieces. And that's something that I actually figured out when I was there, because it was so hot. I didn't really have the ability to layer as much. So I think it really depends on what you're doing, what the purpose is. Whereas if I visited and it was more the fall, maybe I would have brought more layering pieces. But since I was going in the summer, I did end up bringing 2 layering pieces, the 1 button-down shirt, which I guess you can consider either a shirt or a layering piece. And I brought my jean jacket, and realistically, I barely wore the jean jacket because it was just so warm, and it's not something that I could carry throughout the day.
Yeah, I think the context, matters of what you're doing, where you're going, and all of those details. For context to other people, what would you say prior to this experience was your traditional packing method? Were you an overpacker, multiple bags, just throwing something in, zipping it? What was that process like before this?
Yeah, I'm definitely an overpacker. I bring way too much, and I can never decide what I will want to wear. So I just bring everything because I don't know how I'm going to feel. And I feel so much frustration when I'm on my trip, because even though I've brought so much, I still feel like I do not have clothes. I still don't feel good in the clothes that I brought, and it feels like I don't have outfits, and it doesn't feel like I'm prepared for every situation. And that's what I found really interesting about this is, even though I had less clothes, I felt a lot less of that frustration, because I had been so intentional in the items that I chose that there was never a day that I had something and I felt like I didn't have something to wear for it, or that it was so far off. So that was really cool to feel that difference, and also for my bag to be so light and to have so much room in it,
Yeah.
which is always nice for those international trips because you can bring
hmm
back so many things and take so many things. So yeah, this is definitely so different from my normal packing method,
hmm
and it felt good.
That's good. Because I think, yeah, you're right. I think it's kind of oh, we'll see how Travel Pam feels in the day.
Yeah.
But really, you're just delaying the frustration, and then you're rushing and you can't find what to wear because you have too many things. So I think it's nice if you take the time ahead of time, the trip will be like more at ease. You don't have to stress over those little details.
Right, exactly. And exactly what you said of like, I I want to decide how I feel on the day to decide what I wear. And you have the ability to do that with a
hmm
travel capsule and our capsule wardrobe because you have so many different combinations that work. Whereas if you are bringing clothes that really only match one or two things that you've brought, then you have to decide exactly what your outfits are beforehand. Otherwise, you won't have an outfit. And I didn't like that, right? So it's counterintuitive, but having less but more intentional items allows you to have more freedom in the moment of what you want to wear
hmm
instead of the traditional way of packing.
Yeah, so it sounds like it really is like the opposite of restrictive. Like you had more freedom in doing this than you probably initially thought when you were packing or even prior to doing this at all.
Right, which is so funny, right? Like that you feel less restricted having less items,
hmm
but it really is how I felt.
So what was like how was the trip? How did the travel capsule go?
Yeah, it went really well in my opinion. I felt like I had something to wear every event that I went to, every activity that I was doing. And I told my family about my experiment. And halfway through the trip, my aunt, she was like, "How is the travel capsule going?" And I was like, "Well, you tell me. Does it seem like I've been wearing the same outfit? Does it like," and she was like, "No, like your outfits have been nice. And like, I haven't even noticed that you've been repeating items." So that was cool of, and that's something that's talked about in the book Project 333 is like people aren't really noticing the individual items of clothes that you wear as much as you think that they
hmm
are. And people just see that you have a nice outfit on and go on with their day. So people are paying attention a lot less than you think.
Yeah. I think unless you're wearing something that's like super flashy or patterned that like kind of like makes a statement, otherwise it's just like, yeah, you're wearing an outfit that looks nice together. You don't really have to worry about it. But that's fun that you
Yeah.
looped them in.
Yeah. And the thing about having flashy items of clothing, that is another kind of, I guess, discussion point with capsule wardrobes, where in the book, she talks about how you don't have to give up those fun pieces. You can still incorporate them. Obviously, it's easier to have a capsule wardrobe if you have more neutrals because
hmm
things just go together better. But the author is adamant that you can have a fun wardrobe while it still being a capsule. I still am struggling with that a little bit, where I think you have to find really the right pieces when you're shopping in order for that to be effective, or choose a color scheme that works, which is another thing that's mentioned in the book is figuring out your color season, because if you figure out
Yeah.
your color season, then you know what colors you look good in and they
hmm
all kind of go well together. And we've talked about this is my big struggle of life. I don't know my
Yes.
color season and I can't figure it out. So
Yeah.
something else I need to figure out is what is my color season, and maybe that'll help me. So I am really excited when I go to do this for my whole wardrobe is figuring out if I can have those fun pieces, find ways to incorporate them, because I still want to have a fun wardrobe. I don't want it to be boring, but I also really
hmm
love the lack of mental burden in getting dressed and choosing your clothes. So
Yeah.
I really feel like there's got to be a way to have both.
No, absolutely. And I think it's funny. I think we unintentionally, like in our past episodes, have been building to this moment. I think thinking back to the Reddit episode, asking strangers for advice on your appearance, I think you should totally go back and post your capsule wardrobe in there and see their thoughts. But like I said, the declutter challenge, I think, is already like the next. I don't know, they kind of progressively have helped you get to this point in figuring out what your capsule wardrobe is for you.
Yeah, you're right. It's totally all building off of each other. And I think that's something that's cool about just growth in general. When you grow in one area of your life, it tends to help another area of your life. And it's just like this growth spiral of you are slowly inching up and progressively getting to the person that you want to be. So I do think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think we probably have underlying themes to our episodes that we don't even realize. But the whole point is self-growth. And I think that's what we're doing, which is nice. So looking ahead, you're going to go on the journey of figuring out like your, current season capsule wardrobe. But I think there are different strategies that people already use when it comes to like getting ready for the day. I know people lay out their clothes the night before, or I don't know, I was thinking back to, I don't know if you had this when you were a kid, but each of those things that has like the day of the week and you like pre-plan your clothes for the whole week as like ways to help the like, decision fatigue in the day. Do you think one, have you done those in the past, or do you think that you would? Or is the point of the capsule wardrobe just to eliminate all of those things in general?
Yeah, I think that is the point of the capsule wardrobe, is the strategy to eliminate some of that burden, where you can easily choose your outfit in the morning because there aren't that many options. But you bring that up, it reminds me of like a core memory for me growing up, where I have always been so stressed about my closet and organizing it and just taking inventory of all of my clothes that I would download like closet apps on my iPod Touch at the time. And I had like a mission to take a picture of each of my clothes and put it in the app. And, these apps would let you mark it if you had worn it, what days you had worn it, what you wore it with, and like if it was in the hamper, if it was in the laundry. But I think it's just so funny because, well, I had so many clothes at the time too. And this was before my iPod Touch had a camera on it. So I would literally hang up my clothes on like the back of my door, take a picture with my digital camera, go through every single item of clothes I have, then upload that to my computer. From the computer, put it into the iPod Touch. From the iPod Touch, upload it into the app. And I never finished it. Like I never successfully did it. But I tried so many times. Like I tried a bunch of different apps and like a bunch of different days. I'm sure my mom was just like, oh, there's Pamela doing her closet app again, just very quiet in my room for just hours.
Wow.
But I feel like this is always something that I've wanted. I think maybe I was inspired by those like early 2000s, like magic closets that choose your outfit for you.
I was just going to bring up, like, have you seen Clueless?
Yes.
But yeah, I was like, that's exactly what she does. Wow. So this really is like a long time coming for you.
Yeah, well, and I feel like if I reduce my closet, then I can actually probably create something like this. I'm sure the apps are so much better now, or even just using like Notion to log my clothes. I think there's so many ways that this can then make other things easier. I've seen like a Notion template where if you have your clothes on there, you can have different databases. For example, it could be like marked luggage. So you can move a shirt from your closet to your luggage, or just have a list of clothes that you tend to like to travel with. So when you're making your packing list, you can just pull your travel favorites list and just know you're bringing that. And that's especially helpful with a travel capsule. If I already have that, one built for the summer, then I know like this is where what I should wear if I'm traveling somewhere that it's warm. So I think there's definitely opportunity to streamline a lot of different things with having just reduced amount of clothes to deal with.
Yeah, I think technology could totally help. I think you also need to make a little you, and then you can drag the items onto you and see what fits before you try them on.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's perfect. Well, one of my students has been telling me I need to buy a mannequin, and I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I do love that
Next
idea
level.
too of just
Yeah.
putting clothes on the mannequin.
Yeah. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Oh, goodness. Well, as I'm about to get ready to go to a few different trips, is there any advice that you would tell me as I pack and prepare from the things that you've learned?
I would highly recommend doing a capsule wardrobe. I feel like it just allowed me to enjoy my vacation a lot more. I
Mm.
wasn't stressed about my clothes. So I think it was just a fun experiment and just made me feel better on the trip. So I would totally do it. Definitely try everything on before you pack it.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I think it's a great experiment that anyone can and should do because it just also helps you be more intentional in what you're bringing and, you know, learn to live with less in
Hmm.
a shorter trial run.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just got to get over the mental hurdle of it because I think it is truly something that'll make your mornings, your laundry, everything just so much easier when, less is more. And I think that totally encapsulates all of that. Oh, encapsulates. That's funny. Anyway, it's amazing. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We've had a lot of fun with season one, and we hope that you're enjoying it too. As we get closer to the end of the season, make sure that you've joined our newsletter on Substack so you're kept in the loop during our spring hiatus that will begin in April. You'll get access to exclusive updates and be in the know when episodes drop.
We are also running a referral program on Substack where you can earn fun prizes by sharing the podcast with a friend. You can check this out and more at brainwormsandtangents.substack.com, and all links can be found in the show notes as always.
Thanks for listening.